Hello and welcome to Spirit Cafe. I'm so grateful you're here. I'm your host, Tamara Zoner. If you're enjoying this podcast, would you please take a moment to rate and review and maybe even share it with a friend who you know could use more conversations and stories to perk up their soul? Hi, I'm Tamara Zoner. Welcome to Spirit Cafe. Come in, sit down, and grab a cup of love. Today, it's my absolute honor to introduce to you Junie Moon. Junie is a love and relationship coach who specifically works with women to help them amp up their dating game. I'm going to let her give you her full on bio in whatever way she wants to, but I've actually worked with Junie. She was my coach. And I adore this woman. She's just a big bubble of love. She's courageous and intelligent, and gosh, she's just a joy. So, with no further ado, meet Junie Moon. Welcome, Junie Moon, to Spirit Cafe. How are you today?
Woohoo, Spirit Cafe. I'm good. I'm great. I'm happy. I'm thrilled to spend time with you. So thanks for inviting me.
I am so excited. I've gotten to speak to people I genuinely love and adore this week. Even
Aw.
though I haven't met you in real life, right? We definitely have a relationship and a soul connection. And I'm so excited to get to know you on this different level. So I mentioned in the intro that you were my coach, and here we are meeting as peers. And it's very exciting for me just because I have such a heartfelt connection toward you and love what you do. And that's the reason why I chose to work with you. It's just because your energy and your spirit spoke to me and mine. So
Yeah.
tell us about Junie Moon.
Haha. Junie Moon. Who is this Junie Moon character? Well, I just want to just echo what you just said. From day one connecting with you, you're such a light and what you're bringing to the world and your message and your heart. So I am so thrilled to know you as well and someday give you a 3D hug.
Woohoo!
So,
Thank you.
yeah, who am I?
Yeah, that's the question we ask.
As I sit with that huge question lately, more than ever, I had a Vedic astrology session recently, and I'm like, I feel like I'm dismantling even more, like this deep midlife review. And I think about my life, and it's been this journey of who am I? How do I want to live? Who do I want to surround myself with? What kind of life do I want to create for myself? And that really set me on that spiritual journey. In 1990, I was an actress. My life lived and breathed acting.
Wow.
And then I got to this point, and I was actually, doors were opening. I know you don't even know the story, and I
No.
very rarely tell this story. And I was living in New York City doing the whole acting thing. And I just got to this point where even though the doors were really opening with some really great opportunities, I was feeling empty. I was feeling disconnected. Something wasn't right. And I remember this day I went to the 13th Street Integral Yoga Institute, did a yoga class because I remember thinking, I need to do some yoga. I need to ground and center. This was when yoga was like, what? Are you in a cult? So I went to yoga, and I remember leaving the 13th Street location going, oh my God, I feel so aligned, so peaceful, so one with the world. And then I lit up a cigarette as I was walking down 13th Street, and I literally stopped in my tracks. And the two worlds collided. This extreme world of acting and edginess and breaking through to the other side and ego and something not feeling right. So, long story short, that set me on a very different path. I left professional acting mostly, and I moved into the healing arts. And then this ties into what I do now, which is one step led to another, which then opened me up to what's between my ears really impacts everything. How I feel in my body, how I show up in my world, what shows up in my world. And I found this body of work called shadow work, and being 200 pounds and miserable and in a 20-year marriage that was breaking my heart and feeling like I couldn't be me,
Wow.
I started to do the healing work and I shifted. I learned more about who I was, um, how this programming of my life, all the things, all the experiences and all the beliefs I took on because of this human journey. And I started to shine a light on each one, let a lot go, let a lot of the old programming, um, just like, yeah, like I blasted through it. And I really claimed a very different life and found next level love. And the marriage didn't last, but the next chapter of my life has been magnificent. And now I help others do the same. Dismantle, let go, shine a light on the crap, and go, wait a second, life can be so much better without it. So
Yeah.
that was kind of like a brief overview of the journey to here.
Right. I mean, we'd have to have weeks and weeks to learn the whole
All
story.
the nuances.
And I loved what you said. You said you claimed this new experience of yours, which is really
Yeah.
powerful and so important. I'm always talking about creating consciously, and to claim it is just like the period on the end of the sentence of this is the life that I want.
Yeah, yeah. And as you're saying that, I think about Tony Robbins pointing out when people say, I will try versus I will do.
Exactly.
It's like I remember seeing this video of Tony Robbins. This woman's like, I'm gonna try to do what no, try whatever. And he was like, I would like you to try to lift that chair up. And so she would lift the chair up. He's like, no, 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 no. I want you to try to lift the chair up. No, no, try. And the different energetic between trying and doing. And I think it's the same thing with claiming.
Mhm.
There's just a whole energetic of yes, full body, I'm doing this. This is important, stake in the ground. I'm claiming this moment at versus, well, we'll see.
I I hope. I was just
I hope. Let's see what
lovingly
happens.
I was just lovingly correcting someone yesterday in my meetup group because she had written a little bio for me. I'm doing this member spotlight in my private Facebook group, and she wrote, "I hope to turn this into my career." And I was like, "Nah, just so you know, like I fixed that for you." Because that was in
Yeah.
writing and we had no time to chat before. Normally I would ask permission, right? But I've worked with her in some capacity for about the last 5 years. And so I just said, look, I change, I hope I intend, right? I am doing this. I am creating this. Own it, claim it, create it.
Yeah. 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 And the challenge is we get in our own way. The challenge is sometimes we don't have that clarity, or we might have the clarity like, oh, I really want to have this new partner in my life, because most of the work I do is helping people have rich relationships. And most of the women that come to me are single, or some people are in relationship or soon into relationships, and I help them with that. But overall, it's like, oh, I want to have this deep intimacy. I want to have this companionship and this amazing partner, and yet they're not moving forward. So they might even have the stake in the ground going, I want this, I claim this. And then all of the other BS from the past belief systems gets
Right.
in the way and has them thinking, well, can it really happen for me? Am I too old now? Or what do I have to bring to the table? And all of that mishmash between their ears limits what's possible. So it's like there are these like steps that we have to take, literal steps. It's like step on the first step. It's like, okay, I want this. All right, the next step, which is, well, what's another step to take to be able to move me forward? Oh, wait a second. Why am I stuck here? Why can't I lift my leg up to the next
Yeah.
step? Oh, because I'm afraid if I take that next step, I'm going to crumble. I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to be shamed. I'm going to be judged. I mean, so these are the things that we must have in front of us to really acknowledge, have compassion for ourselves, and be able to break through so that we really can put a stake in the ground and claim it and call it in and love it.
Right. And to believe that we're worthy of all of our dreams and desires, that has to
Yeah.
happen for us to actually keep them, right? They might show up as a teaser, but if we don't believe that we're worthy of it,
Yeah.
then it blows right by, or we self-sabotage and destroy things, which I've done lots of times.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I still need to, just be awake. I need to stay awake. And, it's a slippery slope. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I slipped. Oh, let's get back on track, and the sabotage. I mean, that's the thing. It's like we want something, but why do we get in our own way? Why do we act in certain ways that really limit what's possible? And that's the programming. So consciously, we can say, this is how I'm going to do it. This is what I want. And even believe up in our brain that we're deserving of it. I love myself. I love my life. But behind the scenes is another story. So much of our brain, they say like 95% of our brain is unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where all the belief systems live.
Yes.
So if we're not conscious of all that noise in the background, it's not surprising that we really don't get to manifest some of the greatest desires of our life because of our limiting beliefs, because of our feeling like we don't deserve. So we have to keep shining a light on the unconscious realm so that we can actually really beautifully claim and own this precious stage of life.
So good. And it's like it's like onions. There's just layer after layer after layer. And so I always try to remind myself and remind people that I work with, it's never finished. We're never finished with this work. Like you said, you have to keep shining the light on it. We keep up leveling, we keep opening, we keep dismantling. And every time we move up, we have another opportunity to move up some more, because there's always a little something.
Yeah.
Whether it's, what's the big leap, I think it is, where it's you hit your ceiling and then you have to break through again to that next level. And it's a personal ceiling. It's not a societal ceiling. It's a personal belief system. And I love how you use the word dismantling, like consistently dismantling so that you can create what you actually want. And so that's your shadow work stuff. And how did it find you? I'm just feeling like it found you.
It really did. I mean, I'm so blessed. Oh my God, I am so blessed. Just like so many seekers, people that have struggled and wanting to find a way out. I did a lot of work on myself. I went to my yoga retreats. I read a ton of books, and I was 200 pounds and miserable. I was still not expressing my truth. I still felt unlovable. And I struggled. So I felt like I was doing all the right things, but nothing was really kicking in. And I really was walking on eggshells in many aspects of my life. And so I went to a music festival. And of course, even saying that is just that doesn't define it. It was a sacred ceremonial weekend of drumming and dancing and opening our hearts. And with that said, there were workshops. And there was this one workshop, I don't remember what it was called. It was not called shadow work, but it was something about, opening up your heart or something and claiming something. I don't know. And so I went into this workshop, and this woman who was leading it, Elisa Starkweather, who is a dear friend of mine now, who I didn't know back then. And she's like the most powerful, amazing woman leader on our planet, certainly one of them. And she started to offer opportunities for people to step into different roles, different messages. She started to help people look at certain things that they hadn't looked at in the way that she was inviting them to look at. Mm-hmm. She created this space that was so safe, which allowed people to open in ways that were so powerful. And people were having breakthroughs. And it was just beautifully done. Because I've seen so many workshops that were not beautifully done, where people just crashed and burned and were like, hit over the head with a 2x4. It was just orchestrated in such a loving way that allowed people to have these major ahas and shifts, including myself. And so at the end of it, I went up to her and I was like, what was that? What was that? What did you do? How did you learn this? This was amazing. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. And she said, it's called shadow work. And I learned it from Cliff Barry and Mary Ellen Wallen, the founders of shadow work, because there's a lot of people saying they do shadow work. This is the trademarked body of shadow work that's out there with special processes that help people feel safe
Yes.
and allow them to break through and heal and claim their confidence and lovability and healthy boundaries. Anyway, she shared this with me and I was like, I need to know more. And the rest is history. That was 2006. I jumped on the shadow work track, and within a couple of years I was licensed, practicing, facilitator with groups, coaching with with individuals, and bringing this work out into the world. In fact, I wrote my book, Loving the Whole Package, because I really wanted this work to be out in the world in a bigger way. Cliff Barry gave me the rights to use his intellectual property with my kind of take on it, him overseeing it, and that's how I fell into shadow work. It opened up my eyes to, again, the unconscious programming, why I was so hard on myself, because I raked myself over the coals. And it gave me compassion and spaciousness around this human journey that I had been living, and allowed me to heal so that I could drop the weight and keep it off for 20 years, and to be able to call in healthy, delicious partnership, what I call next level love, in a way that I never thought was even doable. So that's how it fell in my lap.
Nice. It's so clear that the universe just provides for us what we need when we need it and when we're ready for it. And I've had the privilege of experiencing your shadow work, which I've done a lot of work,
Just a tad.
Just a tad. I also have read a lot of books, taken a lot of programs, and done just a tremendous amount of work. And shadow work was this form of shadow work, right? Because I've also done shadow work.
Yeah.
Where we're just looking at, the dark and the light and all that jazz. And your process is so different. And I consider myself at this point to be a very courageous woman.
Oh my God. Yes.
Thank you. And when you said, okay, do this, I remember just going, really?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I did it anyway.
That's the thing. It's like, I offer the invitation for people to try different things on, right? It's like, well, what if you did this? Why don't you try that on, see how that fits, and then there's that choice point, because, you don't have to do anything, I say. It's an opportunity to, and I remember that first moment I offered the opportunity, and you kind of looked at me, and I remember you're like, okay, I can do that. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'll do that, and that's such a testament to your courage. As you said, it's like, I don't know, I'm going to enter the mystery. But that's the thing, most people are so afraid of the mystery that they stay stuck, and the mystery is uncomfortable. Let's be real. It's like, what we don't know can hurt us. That's that old brain kicking in, going, ooh, if I really step out of my comfort zone, I might have my heart crushed again, I might be betrayed again, I might have somebody die on me again. I mean, these are all the things that people experience. And yet, if we don't step into the mystery, what are we missing out on? And so, how to step in to the unknown in a courageous way, not without fear, because fear is going to be there, but
you bring it with you.
right. And courage is acting in spite of the fear. And with the right tools and the right support, we can do this in a safer way. It's not jumping off the cliff. We're older, we're wiser. And with the right tools, those inner resources, we can stretch and we can try new things on and open up our hearts and love our lives in ways that we never thought was possible, because we've now stretched and opened into the mystery.
Yes. And I love that. And I feel that it's such an important piece, at least for me. And I know for a lot of people, when I feel that fear and I'm not sure, that's when I know I absolutely have to do it. Because if I don't, number one, I'll be disappointed in myself for not trying. And number two, that's the message that I have learned to pay attention to. If it's a little scary, but it's not a life-threatening, it's just my brain saying this could be life-threatening, but I know for sure it's not. I mean, I was
Right,
sitting in
right.
this very room Zooming with you. I wasn't going to die. And I was scared and nervous and unsure. And
Yeah.
everything about that in so many different points in my life has been do this thing because of those feelings.
Right.
Because of those feelings, because then when you don't die from it, you learn, you grow, you open, you expand. And that's what I love about this life is I have come to be an uncomfortable junkie. Not a junkie in a
Oh,
negative sense.
I've not heard that one before, and I love it. I
Just
love
made
it.
that up because I actually was
Yeah.
thinking this morning, I was on the bike doing my exercise. I didn't feel like it at first, but I got on it because I knew I'd feel better after. And I have realized I took a week off because I got a stomach bug and my body said rest. And then I got back on the bike a week later and I thought, I love this. I hated it at first. It was hard and it hurt and I was heavy breathing but I have this goal and this intention to be in the best shape of my life as I approach in a couple of years a landmark birthday. And I want to feel the best I've ever felt. And I totally believe it's possible. And I know that it takes work. And it's the emotional work, which is one of the reasons I worked with you because I wanted that next level love with the person I'm with.
Yes. And you have it. You worked it and
Yeah.
you have it. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful too.
Yeah.
People, Junie just doesn't make you work hard. She also, for me, you mirrored and reflected to me what I was missing about what I
Mm.
had. And when
Yeah.
you said to me, you said, he's willing to sit in the fire with you. And it just blew my mind. And I thought, oh my gosh, you're right. He
Yeah.
he does every
Yeah.
single time. He does. He
So
never shies away from it.
I've heard you say a couple things that I want to like piggyback on them. So I heard you say before, she made me do these things. So first,
Okay, I know I was a
disclaimer,
choice.
disclaimer, I invite people in to experience these things. And then there was this other thing you just said, which was, it's really hard work.
Mm,
And I think we have to really look at the language
yes.
of what we're doing in our life because some things feel really challenging and hard. And to look at all aspects of our life, I think it's such hard work to not do this work.
Well, it is too. And usually I'll correct myself and say it can feel hard,
And
right?
it is, stretching can feel really hard.
Yeah.
Stretching can feel really challenging. And when we step into the fire, our own personal fire,
Mhm.
it can feel uncomfortable and it can feel scary and it can feel hard. And then it's just like you wanting to prepare for that significant birthday. We'll have to talk about that later because I'm having one too. And and it's like, yeah, effort. There's effort and a movement toward perhaps a goal,
Mhm.
and that efforting can feel challenging. And that's where we build these muscles, and these muscles feel amazing because a weak muscle really sucks. In fact, as we're talking, I'm like, oh, yeah, I really had a hard night's sleep last night. I have this thing going on with my shoulder, and I haven't had it in years. I'm like, and I was tossing and turning and trying to find a comfortable weight. I'm like, why is it there? Now, there's lots of reasons, I'm sure, why it's there. But the biggest thing that comes to mind is I injured my rib recently and haven't worked out for a couple of months. And so I've been so careful to not do any upper body working out. And my first thought was, I haven't been moving my shoulder.
Yes.
And so now there needs to be some efforting. However, by not doing the efforting, by not putting energy into this joint, now it feels really hard.
Yes.
Now it feels really painful. And so for us to sit with the concept of hard work versus the what are we wanting to create and how are we going to dance with the challenges that go with we want to change, we want to heal. And to me, that's the North Star, and the rest will follow. Know what it is that we really want and figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
That comes along. But we need to clean up the unconscious realm. Otherwise, we really are swimming upstream. And that is hard.
Yes. Yes. Oh, so good. And we know when we've done the work, when we've put in the effort, I like that efforting, it feels good when we're on the other side. And once we start to recognize the benefits, that's why I'm always willing to say, oh, this feels scary, or this I'm perceiving this as hard. Okay, that means step into it, step into it. And now when I'm really pushing it, the emotional just matches the physical. So if I'm talking about physical efforting, it totally mirrors the emotional and mindful efforting. So I'm on my bike and I'm doing this really hardcore interval thing, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I love this. And I'm so much stronger than I was, like 7 months ago when I first sat on that bike. So
Right.
much stronger. I'm so impressed with myself that I've,
That's so
kept
great.
going, and that my stamina is better, and the emotional stamina is training too, right?
Yes. Yes. 100%. And what you just described, that's a great metaphor for anything. 7 months ago you were on a bike. You didn't know where you were going to be in 7 months, but
Mhm.
you had a goal and you just stayed on that bike and you kept working it. And it's the same thing with the women I work with when it comes to love and relationships. It's like if they go online and have a bad experience, oh, this doesn't work. It's like you just went on the bike once, It's like
Give up
it
yet?
takes, right? We need to like look at the different bike routines. We need to see what music you like when you ride that bike. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a great metaphor for everything. And so when I work with my clients, it's like slow and steady as we unfold the layers, and the
Mhm.
more the women really know their value, have the healthy boundaries, have the clarity, and get all those pieces in place, then they will start to see the results. But it's not a magic wand. I mean, yes, some people right out the gate will meet the love of their life. But at the end of the day, if you're bringing that bag of shadows, all the beliefs, all the crap and baggage you've picked up along the way, what's going to happen in the next relationship? We know the answer, So there's something to be said about training, like the bicycle training over time to become the person that we so desire to be and live each moment the best we can.
Yeah, so good. So you mentioned working with clients. So tell us how you do work with clients and where you show up, and your favorite thing to do with people. Now, I could share a couple of things because I've been through your Levathon and worked with you personally, but tell us where you show up and how you work, how clients get to work with you.
Sure, sure. So I have different ways that I work with people, and all throughout the year, I'm throwing out different opportunities. Like you mentioned, the Loveathon, which is one of my favorite events. We just had it. I do it a couple times a year, where it's a virtual 7-day training, and oh my God, the breakthroughs and the women connecting with each other and all the learnings. Anyway, long story short.
So good.
I do master classes and I do one-on-one coaching, as well as I have a year-long program called Midlife Love Master. No, that's my podcast. So many things. They all
Podcast
sound the
too.
same. Midlife Love Mastery, which I'm going to be changing to Unleashed soon. I think that word is
Like
just
that.
really, I'm really feeling the unleashed part. But anyway, so I work with people over time to help them really claim this stage of love and life on their terms. And I also have my own podcast, which is what I was about to say, which is the Midlife Love Out Loud podcast.
Nice.
And that's also my website name, midlifeloveoutloud.com. And if people go there, you will find everything from great video content, articles, blogs, and more information about what this work really can do for you. Because at the end of the day, this shadow work, that the shadow being the part that you don't know about, the shadow being the part within us that we've shamed or disowned or think is bad, in the website you'll have a much deeper understanding of what this work is about, and why doing this work can be so helpful, not just with your love life, but your life.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm Junie Moon. My handle is Love Coach Junie Moon. You can find that all over the place. But Midlife Love Out Loud,
I'll get you
that's
there.
where you find me.
And they can get your book there too?
Yes, yes. My website will lead you to that. It's on Amazon as well. And I have a free gift for anyone that is listening as well, because we're talking about the unconscious realm and we're talking about all the programming. And I know a lot of people have great quizzes out there and checklists, and those are all great. And I love to give people transformation that sticks. I love to help people shine the light on the stuff that they don't know is running their show. So I have an ebook called Find Fabulous Love After 40. And it's a workbook, and it's like 10 steps. It's not like this long, arduous journey. However, it is a workbook to help you really start to uncover why you are in your own way and change it. Start to really shift the programming that's having you limiting yourself and really putting a stake in the ground for something new for yourself. So I'll make sure that you have the link for that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I'm so, so grateful that you came out to play with me today.
Oh my God, so much fun. I was looking forward to it. I was like, I looked at my calendar this week. I'm like, woohoo.
I know, I saw it. I was like, yes, like what a perfect, we're recording this on a Thursday, which is just perfect because it's kind of like the hit of dopamine that I needed to get through the rest of this week.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So good, honey. So good.
Thank you so much for being here. I just love and adore you. And I bet all my listeners and viewers do too. So thank you. Thank you, Spirit Cafe listeners. Go check out Junie Moon in all her glory everywhere she shows up. And I'll talk to you again next. Bye. Thank you for joining us on Spirit Cafe. Please leave all comments on our Spirit Cafe Facebook page or in the comments below our YouTube videos.